continuation of Blood of the Phoenix. We'll be doing a series of videos coming up in the next 2 weeks. I'm showing you hobby assembly videos, Tactica videos, contents of the book and the box, and the books and the boxes as well, the sprues as well, hobby assembly sprues, and everything else that relates to the first part of the Psychic Awakening. And stay tuned to all the videos.
Welcome to Thirst for Battle. I'm the Cerebral Assassin, and with me is the General. We are going to be going over the new Warhammer 40,000 Psychic Awakening Phoenix Rising book that came out with the Blood of the Phoenix. And I'm just going to give it over to the General. He knows all about
the Eldery.
Yeah.
I do. Yes, I mean, if you see, I think we'll one day take a video, a parade army of my entire Eldery army. It's huge. In points wise itself, I'm probably about 15 to 20,000 points. In power points, I'm well over 1,000 power points, probably 2,000, whatever that is. So I have a lot of Eldery.
Yeah, we can throw that in a couple of videos down the road.
Yeah, Army Parade. Shall we do the General's Army Parade?
Yeah, might as well. What we'll do is we'll probably throw that in right after we do all the Blood of the Phoenix.
Oh, sweet.
You know, just so you guys can check out what the General has.
See, the Cerebral Assassin's only been here for 2 minutes.
Yeah, I've already paid for myself. Bam! That's how we work.
So, without further ado, very excited. I love the fact that they're updating a lot of stuff. They've looked at 8th edition. They've got a good rule set, Games Workshop of Warhammer 40,000, and now they're tweaking stuff that people wouldn't normally take. Now, this is kind of funny because since 8th edition, I've always taken a unit of Incubi, I've always taken Yanzar, and I've always taken a unit of Handling Banshees. The only thing I haven't taken is Drazar, and that's not because I didn't like him, it's just I just wasn't a big fan of the old miniature. But
the book's really nice.
Oh, dude, the book is so. What I love about Games Workshop is the price you're paying, you're getting a good quality book. So opening it up, you get a fantastic intro artwork scene of the Ducati fighting against the Phoenix, one of the Phoenix Lords, Yanzar. There is a story behind this. I'm not going to do any spoilers because I want you guys to read it, and just in case of those who don't want it spoiled, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But there is a follow-up and build-up to the story of this with Gav Thorpe's books on the Eldery. Read those; they're really good. I've read them through, and also it continues through this as well, and also through the actual army books as well. So let's go to the Phoenix Rising. You've got a nice little kind of like opening sequence written by a visionary, I guess a Farsi of Altiok, and then you got the content. So we're going to be breaking up this video series, and in this series we'll be looking into the story and the missions, and then the next series will be going into Craft World, and then the next series will go to that, and then that. Is that correct?
Yeah, so in this one, we'll just be going down an overview of what this book contains.
Yes. So
then we'll be going over, the specific sections such as the Craft Worlds, Jakari, and...
Gotcha. Yep, I'm excited. I think that's the way to go. So you got the introduction as you get the book, but what's really cool is the fluff. The fluff is really cool. What's really exciting about Warhammer 40,000 now is that there is a continuation. The story is flowing through. Stuff's happening, and it's continually growing. It's not static as it once used to be. This is the Rift. This is one of the most exciting pages in the book because it tells you what's going on in the universe of Warhammer 40,000. Mm-hmm. It tells you basically the notable Eldery activity sites, where they're going, where the attacks are happening. This is really interesting if you really get into the fluff. For those who don't know, basically the Ynnari, which are in this book, have awoken a god of death, an Eldery god of death, and they are trying to kill the Cerebral Assassin's favorite chaos god, Slanesh, basically, to ensure that they can come back to life, because the curse of the Eldery is that they actually gave birth to Slanesh through all their indulgences, and their entire civilization nearly got wiped out, save for a few of them in Craft Worlds and in Gomorrah and the other places where the Ducati basically exist. And so for the Eldery, they have gemstones which keep their spirits in these gemstones, so when they die they don't go into the ether world or into the warp or wherever they're supposed to go, because Slanesh Slaanesh will take them. So they preserve themselves in these gemstones. That's why you have Wraith armies, basically Wraith Lords, Wraith Guard, all that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool. And with the Drukhari, they basically torment other races and other souls, so their souls don't get trapped basically by Slaanesh. So they've got a more of a sadistic, more of a sick way of keeping Slaanesh at bay. So, but what's happened is Inari's come, a new god has been given birth, is giving threat, and it's kind of exciting because Psychic Awakening 2. We've got a few theories. So this year is going to be, and next year is going to be a very exciting year for me and the Cerebral Assassin.
Yeah.
As he's our in-house Slaanesh guy.
Just to say something about the map, I like how it shows like all the individual places and groups of factions and stuff. Yeah. I feel like you could really look at the map and be able to pick out scenarios. Or campaigns, basically,
absolutely,
to add to your army.
No, I love
just fluff, basically.
No, I agree. I mean, any narrative can be based on all of this, and it is just two pages, but there's so much content that you can draw from this that I agree. I love it, and more stuff like this. I love it. So let's move on to the next. So it starts with basically the fluff, and again, look at some great miniatures of Slaanesh based on.
Oh man, look at that!
Yeah, right. So this is what the Cerebral Assassin is building here against my Eldari, led by Inari. So this is the Inari force as it looks like. So you got some great artwork. It goes through the fates of the craft worlds, a bit of story. It updates you of where the Eldari are right now in Psychic Awakening, the Wrath of Gomorrah, what's happened to, and then the Gordori falsehood, what people have woken up and learned. Again, we don't want to. Ayndin Reborn. So this shows you how Ayndin was reborn, and also it's one of its main characters as well. If you don't know, Uriel was brought back to life. But I would like you guys to read it to find out a little bit more yourself. Laughing in the face of death, basically the Harlequins and their god, the laughing god, ever fight against Slaanesh to keep Slaanesh at bay, and then it keeps going on. But as in terms of quality, really nice layout. I love this part, one of my favourite parts of the book, where it kind of shows the miniatures. And then this is where it gets exciting. There are missions. This is really cool. So you got Theatres of War and Echoes of War missions. These are really kind of like bespoke narrative missions that you can play, and which I'm sure I'm going to get someone to play with me some of these things. And they've got some really cool rules, basically, which we can look into in depth in the other video series, basically.
Maybe we can get some Drukhari versus Slaanesh.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Right?
That'd be awesome. So so in total you get 1, 2, 3, let's go 4. I think you get 4 missions. Yeah, 4 missions, and you got some neat stratagems that you can use in specific missions, which I actually quite like.
Yep.
And now you move into the craft world. Now, this is really interesting because this is an update. So if you're an Eldari player, you got your Craft World Eldar book. This is the update to your Craft World Eldar book. So it has certain updates that have taken your stuff to the next level. So if you play points value, these are the stuff that's changed. And what's really cool, one of my favorite things here, is the name generator.
That's really neat.
I just love name generators, and it's just really cool. So you got the first element, so you can take one name, and then you can take the second element, and you can roll it randomly and put it together for your characters.
It just adds more to your army.
Absolutely. Now here we go. So Yanzar. Now if you go to our first episode on the Phoenix, Blood of the Phoenix series, I go in depth with Yanzar and how she's used, and how cool she is. Here is the actual model.
Such a cool model.
Yeah, you're going to see me build one. You're going to see one being painted on the General's painting corner. Do look out for that. It is a lot better than the old one. The old one was nice, but this one is just...
Oh yeah, it's tons better.
Dude,
tons better.
Amazing. And it's in plastic as well, which is fantastic. Yep. The reason why I'm super excited is I've always ran with Yanzar for about 20 years. In 8th edition, I've religiously used her in every single game. I do like her. The fact that she can just go right up table. You can even one thing that I didn't show in the first series that I will show you that she can use is if you have a Spirit Seer and you can put Quicken Restrain. If you do all the maximum stuff that I told you, so moving her 8 inches, giving her matchless agility to move her 14 inches, she then gets a free move on top of her natural move. So you've moved her 14 plus the 8. That's 22-inch move, and what that does is choose a friendly Asuri infantry unit or biker within 18 inches of a psyker. That unit can immediately move as if it were the movement phase. You can't use this on a single unit more than once per psyker phase. That is sick because she's got 22-inch move right up forward. She's got +3 to her charge. That's 25 inches into the deployment zone, and then she got to Rolls Royce. So she becomes like a one of those missiles, those heat-seeking missiles going into attack. So we've gone through her in the first series, so do check out the first video, please. And now here's where, and then we'll go through the Howling Banshee. Now, the great thing about the Howling Banshees is look at those models. These are all new plastic kits. I am super stoked.
Yeah, those look really good.
Super stoked. About time. Big kudos to Games Workshop. They are beautiful sculpts, and I'm just super excited about these sculpts. I can't wait to put the plastic. So if you want to see how these are built, how these are put together, what they look in their plastic form and then painted form, do jump in and check the rest of our Blood of Phoenix series that's coming out soon, or by the time you've seen this it might be already up, and do check it out after this episode. Then we've got the powers of the Aspect Shrines. This is an upgrade of extra stuff. So instead of having your normal powers, the normal abilities, you can add more abilities. You can customize your skills of your Aspect Warriors, which actually makes them really interesting. So what I love about this now, and what I'm hoping to see, is every different player I play against an Eldery army, they have their own custom aspect. It's what interests me is more variety. So every time I play a game, I'm not playing against the same typical unit. There are twists and turns. So that's what's really cool about here. So you're getting a lot of content in this book. There's a lot of stuff. Runes of Fortune, psychic powers, basically additional stuff that you can basically use, which is fantastic. I love it. Then moving on, the Craft World attributes. Now here's the cost. So normally in the Craft World book, you get to choose one of the main craft worlds, and each craft world has a particular skill. So for instance, I have my own craft world, but I use the craft world which is you get -1. It's the Latok one, which you get -1 to hit if my unit is not within 12 inches of my enemy, which is great because this makes my units harder to hit. But for the first time, and they're moving this with the Space Marine, you can now choose 2 of these attributes and build your own craft world and make it unique. You don't need to stick with the codified craft worlds that have been in the Warhammer 40,000 history since forever. So there was always Latok, Iodine, Ulthway have always been in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, but now your craft world, your army, your bespoke army can now enter and actually play its part in the Warhammer 40,000 universe in the Eternal War. It carries on, which is really awesome. So you've got a lot of choice. And then we move on to the Drukhari. And now the Drukhari, my favourite army. I mean, I run loads of armies, but out of all my armies that I love, and there's many that I do love in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, this is my favourite. Just the models just are fantastic. So if you're into points values, these are the points value update. We do have a name generator as well. Oh, yes, get in. Which is kind of helpful. Because even if you're not going to use it, it gives you an idea of how the letters and names are formed. Drukhari Obsessions. Now, like in the Drukhari Codex, there are obsessions you can choose, which we'll get into when we get to that section. Drazar orders. This is what I was talking about in the previous episode, in the first Blood of Phoenix series video. This sculpt is killer. Oh, dude, this is a sick sculpt. Huge difference. I mean, I challenge you to go see the original sculpt and check this sculpt out. This sculpt, he looks like a killer. He looks like he'd run into an army of 100, men and just rip them to pieces. I love it. Whoever sculpted this and the direction of the sculpt is fantastic. Can't wait to put him together. Can't wait to paint him. I'm super stoked. Moving on, the rules of Jazzart, we've gone through that with the first video. Some of the miniatures of the new plastic incubi sculpts, yes! Again, we'll go through that in an assembly video for our Blood of the Phoenix series. Make sure to watch out for all of this because we've got a lot of content for Blood of the Phoenix for the first part of the Psychic Awakening. Then the rules of the Incubi, which we'll go into detail in the next videos. Drukhari Obsessions, again, Cabal Obsessions. So in the Drukhari Carfold, you have 3 obsessions. You've got Cabal, you have the Witch Cults, you got the Homunculus Coven Obsessions, which divide the factions to 3 factions. And again, like in Craftworld, you can choose 2 of these as opposed to choosing the standard obsessions in the Drukhari Codex. Ynnari. I do like the Ynnari. I've always been a fan of the Ynnari. I do love playing Ynnari. I've actually painted both of him and the Yivrin up. I've yet to finish painting him up, but they are some gorgeous models, and they kind of like unite both factions together, so you can play Eldari and Drukhari together. You still actually can still play Drukhari and Eldari and the Craftworlds together because they are Eldaris, but as different detachments. So again, goes through a bit of a... Now this one I'm really happy with is the Ynnari never really had a codex, and in the White Dwarf, a kind of like a supplemental codex was printed in the White Dwarf. But I believe this is kind of like the finished rotation of a lot for the Ynnari without it having its own codex. So not only have you got the points differences, you've got the strength from death and reclaim from galaxies, basic rules basically that you know that they get, and if you don't know, we'll go through it in another episodes. You got all the characters, the power points, what they do, and their special abilities. He's my favorite. I love him. He's a bit of a killer, but we can go through that. These are all existing models basically that came just before 8th edition hit the streets. I love him. I haven't used the character yet, the Ukraine. I'm looking forward to him. But here's where the important part comes in. You get all this, which was not there before. The Ynnari Stratagems, basically, which is huge because now in the game you're not handicapped by not having access to these. And usually players would use, a Craftworld set or a Drukhari set by using separate detachments and stuff like that. Now you have your own bespoke one, and there are bespoke. I mean, you got some things that are similar. I mean, there are some that have been like lightning fast reactions, is in the Drukhari deck, it's in the Craftworld deck, and it's also in this deck. So there are some similarities, but there are some bespoke ones which are really cool. You got your Warlord traits, and you got your psychic powers as well, which is kind of cool. So you got kind of like I would say a full codex, because you only got characters. They haven't brought out new units, which are non-character models for Ynnari, but I'm sure there are going to be more of this coming, basically, more new units at some point in time when they're ready and they have been tested properly. You also got the relics, which is huge, because before, you didn't have access to relics, and tactical objectives for you, which replaces, if you've got a normal tactical objective deck, these are the Ynnari ones that replace the corresponding number objectives. And there you go. Got a bit of a story here and some artwork at the back, and that goes to the end of what I think is a great addition to any Craftworld, Drukhari, and Harlequin player. Now, if you're someone like me that collects all 3 of the Eldari factions, this is an ultimate compendium, upgrade book on top, which I'm very happy with. I can't wait to see what else is coming out in store for the rest of the races. I mean, if this is where Games Workshop is going, which is really interesting. I'm really happy that we're not in the 9th edition phase yet. They're actually exploring more in 8th edition. They're upgrading stuff within 8th edition, getting stuff right. And if this is the way Games Workshop's going with Series 1, Series 2, a focus on particular things, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited because a lot of stuff, because our theory is, this is a theory of just Games and Glory, so we don't really have any insider info. Our theory is that Slanesh is going to be one of the Psychic Awakening ones. And I'm really excited because Emperor's Children haven't had a lot of love for a long time.
No, they haven't.
World Leaders haven't had either. So they are addressing parts of armies that have not been able to address because the Simply fact is, one of the simple reasons is there are so many armies. So, and they're now honing in and taking their time, hopefully this year, next year, and however long this Psychic Awakening takes, to address parts of your armies and upgrade it. So, beautiful box, really beautiful book. We're going to get into the box soon, but in the next videos, we're going to go into a bit more depth about what the contents are. So, if you want to know more about the units, like what does the Howling Banshees do, why you should take them, or what is so good about the Incubi, why you should take them as part of your force, please tune in. Share this video, and we hope you enjoyed. Give you an overall idea of what this is for those who already know what most of the stuff does anyway, but for those who want to know more, we've got next episodes, we've got more Blood of the Phoenix. We're very excited. Thanks for tuning in.